Welcome to another Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin, and today's theme is going to share with I'm going to share with you some banknotes that have pottery as a part of the design or as a decoration and a decorative element on the banknote. I've always wanted to be an archaeologist, and one of the things I've loved is whenever I've been able to travel and see archaeology in action. I visited a lot of fields of archaeology. I've been all over Rome, for example. I've been all over Israel. I've been in the Golan Heights. I've been in the West Bank. I was in Jericho on the day it was turned over to Palestinian control. I've been in the Druze area of Israel between Lebanon and the nation, and I've seen dig upon dig upon dig, pottery shard after pottery shard after pottery shard, and sometimes I've even seen the whole jars. Jars are something that you can see here in Oklahoma as well, as we have a lot of clay in our soil, and the peoples that were originally here practice pottery in some aspect or another. So one of the first themes I started collecting about 5 or 6 years ago were banknotes that had pottery on them, and today I'd like to share a number of those notes with you. These aren't all the notes with pottery, and I would like for you to like and subscribe to my channel and add to the listing with banknotes that you have or that you know of that might have jars on them. The first note I'm going to share with you is from Syria, and this is a 50-pound from 1988. And over here to the right of the dam, we have a statue of, I'm going to assume, a goddess bearing a jar. And when I do a one-on-one video, I will go into greater detail because I will go into greater research. Like, I would normally like to be able to tell you the name of that dam and the name of that statue, but right now, this is a theme video, and it's only included because it has a jar right there. Let's see if there is a jar on this side of the note. No, it's not, but if this was an Iranian banknote, that might be a Qajar castle. Ha 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 ha. I'm sorry, that was stupid. And no, I didn't include doors that weren't shut all the way, so there are no jars in that way. These are literally jars that appear on banknotes, and we're going to move over to a banknote of Morocco, and we have grain, we have dwellings, and we have a couple of jars here in the background on the right-hand side of this note. We also have a dam on this note, so maybe jars and dams go together. Don't really know. I'll have to ask the king next time I see him. Let's move on to Africa, and let's take a look at this. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3. This 100,000 Angolan Kwanzaa. And on this side of the note, I'm not seeing anything that is too jarry. Let's turn it over and take a look. Ah. A fine mask and a jar. I'm sure of a culture that is found within Angola. Let's move to an Algeria banknote. And this Algerian banknote is a 20 dinar, and it is from the early 80s. Predominantly red note. That almost looks like it could be a compass rose in this corner. Jewelry designs. And here we have a jar that looks a lot like the jars you would see in ancient Greece that were half buried or leaned and contained olive oil and perhaps wine. This is a neat jar. I would like to have a jar like that in my garden. Is there a jar on this side of the note? Nope. Just, I don't know. It looks like somebody giving you a high five or getting ready to slap the heck out of whatever that is right there. But it's a beautiful note nonetheless. And it's from, it looks like, the early 80s. Let's move to Cyprus. Cyprus now uses a euro, so it has really ugly money. But at one time, Cyprus had its own lira, and it's a beautiful banknote. Maiden on this side, dove, olive leaves, mountain village. Looks like some terraces, which I've always liked. And then here we have textiles. It looks like we have crocheted lace right here, and here we have 2 jars. Very nice jars. We're going to move from Cyprus to Vietnam, and we're going to look at a little tiny tin shoe banknote. And on this side of the banknote, you don't see jars, you see baskets. And what these people are doing is they're piling up salt from little pools of salt water that are drying. This is a salt works, and this is how they collected salt for commerce. And on this side of the note, you have a port, or at least a dock. You have ships on a river or an ocean bay. And here you have jars that might contain various products and goods that they are shipping or receiving. So these jars are something you see all over the world. Let's go back to South America and take a look at this Peruvian banknote. And in this Peruvian banknote, we have Pachacutec, who was one of the last Inca, supreme rulers of Peru, and I believe he was one of the last ones when the Spaniards came and took over the empire. And you see him in his resplendent glory. Earplugs, headband, feathers. Over here we have some pottery that was probably germane to the time period. And on this side of the note, we have, I don't know, it looks like a ruins in the mountains. In fact, down here it says Fortaleza de Sacsayhuaman. So I'm sure that's a specific ruin that you can go and see sometime if you ever visit Peru. We're going to stay in South America and travel down to Paraguay. This is a 5 guaranis, and if you get the coin from Paraguay, they actually have the same motif, same lady, same jar, can be found on at least one of the coins of Paraguay. And here you have a local carrying a jar. I don't know that the jar is unique to Paraguay at this point, but it is, somebody tending the drinking needs, the watering needs of the family, or, providing beverages. And that's the reason why this note was included in this theme of pottery. We're going to go to Africa, and this time we're going to take a look at a Nigerian 20 naira. And what's interesting about this one is, instead of just showing a jar as a finished product here in the background, we see the lady making jars, and it looks like she could very well be using a pottery wheel here. And here are some unfired pots. Now, I don't see enough to know if she is using a ball of clay with water and a wheel, or if she's using the coil up method where you form the shape of the clay with coils and then you weld the coils together with your hands. But either way, it looks like she knows what she's doing, and I'm going to defer to her ability. And it's kind of neat to see a craft in action on a banknote. I've always enjoyed the weaving notes because you can see them weaving. And on this note, you can actually see them making the jars. Let's go back to Central America and find our way to Nicaragua. This is a 50 Cordobas. And we have a jar with 4 smaller jar vessels in it. And this is the national ceramic of Nicaragua. And so I don't know if the designs are unique to Nicaragua, but when I see this running fret, which looks like a Greek border, and I see these other shapes here, I know these freaked out the Spaniards when they came to the New World and they saw things like that, because they thought they were looking at colonies from Greece from hundreds of years earlier, because these were designs you would typically see in Greece or in that part of the Mediterranean. I'm not sure if there's any pots on the other side. Let's take a look. Nope, we just have a canyon with a river running through it. Wow. I need to go to Nicaragua. We're going to go back to Africa, and this time we're going to look at a banknote of the Congo. And this is a 500 francs of the Republic of the Congo. And you have a statue here, but you have a lovely vase right here. And I wonder if we can see any other craftiness on this side of the note. On this side of the note, it looks like we have either a carver for the masks, or somebody who's just playing with the design. I don't pretend to know. But there's no other pots on this note. There is a sister note from the Central African Republic that has the same design. Yep, there's a couple of banknote countries where they like to issue the designs for each other's countries. I think there's about 7 or 8 countries that have similar designs that come out. Gabon is one of them. Chad is another one that comes to mind. And the final note I want to share with you today is from Asia, and it is from Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan has recently changed over from a Cyrillic alphabet to a Western alphabet, so I can read. And we have here Uzbekistan Republika Markazi Bank. And so we have a mosque on this side of the note, and on this side of the note we have an archaeological scene, and we have some objects, but here we have a flagon or a flask or perhaps even just a jar with a handle that lets you pour things out. So jars show up, pottery shows up in just about every culture of the world. When they come back and look at American culture from now, they're going to wonder about this pottery called Corel. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll still be using it. Who knows? But this has been a pottery theme. Please like and subscribe to my channel and add your notes to my list. Let's cuss and discuss it together, y'all, and let's make our hobby a greater place to be. Enjoy this video and my 260 other videos. I am Benjamin. This is Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. Have a jewel of a day.